So now here, as part of this lab, what we are going to do, last time we created target server. Now we are going to secure our API, right? So right now our API is not secure, correct? Anyone can hit it from the browser, right? Anyone with the URL can hit it with the browser now. So uh, this thing, because of this now for security, so we have to add a basic API key, sorry, basic API key security. Okay, so for that reason, what we have to do first to secure the API. First thing we have to do is to create a product, because that is how API will be exposed for consumption. Correct. So, but before that, we have to add a verify API key policy. Okay, so we will secure it using verify API key policy. So for that, go to your proxy here, go to develop proxies. Okay,
1 second. Go to proxy, right?
yeah, click on develop and then proxies,
Develop proxy. Okay.
and then click on your proxy.
Okay.
Okay, and then once you are inside your proxy, go first. As you remember, last time I told, whenever we have to make a change in the proxy, what we do is we first save as a new revision. Okay, so go to project, save as a new revision,
Division 3 summary. Yeah, I saved it.
so after saving as new revision, which is revision number 3, correct? So
Yeah.
so after that we'll go to develop. Okay,
Develop.
so
Okay.
when you go to develop, see preflow will be selected automatically here. Okay, so
Okay. 1 second. Where we have to go to develop? Okay, here, right side. Okay.
develop tab, yes, there is a develop
Yeah.
tab. Yes. Then there is a, when you see here, preflow is automatically selected. You see here also preflow. When you want to see, you see which flow is selected. You can see flow preflow means by default preflow is selected here. Okay, already. So now in preflow we have to add the policy. The security policies are you know added in the common way, right? So wherever everything is like where everything is there, right? I mean, because it is to be applied on all the flows. Every time you make a call, this will be validated. So for that reason, we put the security policies here. Correct. So now because of that reason, this is here. Okay. So then what happen? So here in pre-flow. Okay. So then uh, click on this plus step button. Okay. Click on this plus step. But before clicking on, do one thing. Let's go to lab here. Okay, if in the labs, if you scroll down here, if you keep scrolling down below this screenshot, you see this screenshot, verify API key screenshot. There is
Right.
a name, there is a display name here. Copy the display name value, VAK verify key. I'm putting in the chat also just to be soon. Okay, so here I'm putting it in the chat also. So the name you can copy from there also, or I'm posting in the chat also. So from either place you can copy here.
Okay. Verify key. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So the naming convention, if you remember what we saw is, so when you name the policy, first is the policy abbreviation, policy type abbreviation, correct? Like verify API key, VAK, and then what activity it is doing. So verify key. Okay. So
Right.
that
Okay.
so copy the name, and then here in the plus step, now click on the plus step here. In the plus step, it will open this pop-up box. In the pop-up box, scroll down to verify API key. See in security, keep slowly scrolling down security. Go down, go down, go
Verify
down.
API key. Yeah, I see it.
You will find it, yeah, below the delete OAuth, you will find verify API key. Correct.
Right.
Click on this policy first. When you click, it will ask for display name. So here on the
Right.
right side, update the display name value. So update the display name, put it like whatever value we copied, put it there. When you
Okay.
update the display name also will be updated. Okay,
Fully
so
updated, right?
will be put here. So that is the thing. So okay, so here click on add button. Okay, so when you click on add button here, you will see the XML of the policy. So policy configuration, which is XML based configuration, will be open. So do you
Okay.
see this?
Yeah.
Now
I see.
here in the line number 5, in line number 5, you see it says API key ref equal to request.query_param.api key. Means it is
Okay.
going to read the API key from the query param. But for security reason, we do not provide API key in the in the query param. We have to set it in the header. So it should be sent in the header. So
Okay.
replace the word query param with the word header, because that is the header variable format will be like this: request.header.api key. Okay,
Second.
so yeah.
Header. Okay. Okay. Done. So we can mention the API key in query param also, right?
Yeah, but for security, you don't do it. Mostly the
But
header
that
is
is not advisable, you mean, right?
because it is visible on the URL. Right? That header is
Right.
like
Got
secure way.
it. Okay.
Right? So that after replacing the word query parameter header, have you replaced it?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Then click on this save button here.
Mm, okay, there. Yeah, save. Done.
So after saving, so you saved it, right?
Yeah.
After saving, you go to deployment and deploy it. Click on dev. So in the deployment, because you see the revision 3 is not deployed, correct? On the bottom left, you see not deployed, right? You can see the word not deployed because it is not yet
Right.
deployed. We only saved
Right.
it, but we did not deploy. So go to deployment, deploy on dev. Okay, so deploy it. So after that, you can see it is green. So it is deployed. Do you see it is
Yeah.
deployed?
It is deployed.
Now on open a new tab and type the word categories. Categories. So it will come that URL last time you tried, right?
Yeah.
So now hit that URL again. If you hit the URL again, you see this error: fault dot this thing, failed to resolve API key variable. Correct? You see this error.
Yeah. Failed resolve API key. Yeah.
Correct. So because now we have added secured our API with API key, now it is protected using API key. So it is not available publicly. Only person with the correct API key can make it. Okay.
Okay.
So now moving to the next thing here. So now here in the header. So now once we have now secured it. Now next thing will be the process to get a proper API key, right? So how to get a proper API key? So for that, step number one will be we have to expose this. Right now it is not exposed to consumer, right? So we have to create a product for that. Okay.
Okay.
So go to publish and click on API products here.
One second. This is in proxy, right? Sorry, yeah, RPG.
Inside publish. Yeah. Sorry. On the left menu, there will be publish and then
I'm
products.
going. I'm going there. RPG. API products. Publish. Okay. Publish. API products. Okay. Yeah.
Right now, on the right side, there is a plus product button. Right, click on that plus API product. When you click, it will open a new, yeah, new page here. Right, a
Right.
form, a
Yeah.
new product form. Correct.
Yeah.
So in that form, it will ask for details like name, display name, and all. So go to the lab page. Go to this lab page,
Okay.
lab HTML page. Now scroll down. Now scroll down. Uh, if you scroll down here, if you keep scrolling down, it will slowly going below these screenshots and everything. Now here you see the screenshot of product. Now
API product.
yeah, so now here the values are there. So name will be retail. Okay, so that
Right.
will be the name. But again, as I told, that name has to be unique because product name has to be unique. So you have to add your uh, that training ID after that. Okay,
Right.
so
Hyphen and training ID.
refer, yeah, I'm just pasting here in the chat. So just retail hyphen training ID. So okay, so copy the name, paste retail, then hyphen. I'm going to use 101. You have to use 102. Okay,
Right.
same thing, copy and paste the same thing in display name. So usually for ease of understanding, we prefer to keep same value for both name and display
Okay.
name. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so after that, description you can leave it as it is, no need. Environment will be dev. Right now we are going to use this only in dev environment. So environment, select dev.
Okay.
Okay, okay. And on the right side, access will be make it public because anyways, it will not really matter until unless we publish on the portal. Okay, until unless you publish on the portal, it will not really matter. So make it as public. Okay.
So what is this automatically approve access requests? How will that be there?
So the way it works is that automatic means if someone is subscribed and generate API key, their API key will be automatically approved to be used. Otherwise, what will happen is it has to wait for the org admin to approve from the APG here, from the APG dashboard. Okay. So yeah, so sometimes they subscribe immediately and they can uh, start using it. Otherwise sometime it will come, I mean admin has to come and update here manually, approve here manually, sorry. Okay, then after that quota you can leave as it is, we will not use it for now anyways. Scroll down to resources. Okay, so in the API resources, uh, there is API proxy. So anyways, right now we'll just add the full proxy here. So click on add a proxy here. Okay, click on add a proxy and type the name of the proxy. So retail, type the word retail, your proxy will come. Correct. Type the word retail, your proxy will come, and select your proxy. Okay,
1 second. Where is that? Add API source.
add a proxy here. There is a option, there is a link, correct, below the API resources. There is API proxy. You see a link here below the API proxies. Add a proxy. Okay,
Add a proxy. Yeah.
click on that and then you type the word retail, your proxy will come here. And then check, select your proxy. So I'm selecting retail v1101. Select your proxy and click on add button. Okay,
Okay. Okay. Done.
and then click on save. So after that click on save. Yeah. Okay,
Okay. Done.
so yeah, so once it is you save it. So now we have added this proxy as part of retail product. Okay, so after that, so once you are done with this, okay, then next will be go to developer. You have to add a developer here, right? The developer has to subscribe, correct? So this is the consumer developer. So on the left side, in the left side menu, click on developers.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So here there is a plus, click on plus developer here,
Plus developer. Okay.
and use your first name, last name, and your username, email ID. You can put it there. Okay, so you are registering yourself as a developer. My developer, my things are already there because if I search by my name, so developer is already existing.
Okay. So I'll have to create mine, right?
Yes, yes, you have to create.
So I'll have to click on plus developer to the right.
Yes, and then put the values, first
First
name.
name.
Then you can use your first name as a username itself, and then email address. Okay. So email is the unique. Email has to be unique. So you can use your personal Gmail or Yahoo, whatever, because you are registering. Remember, you are registering as a consumer. So this is a
Right.
consumer developer account. In normal scenario, this has to be done from the developer portal. Okay, from the portal it is done. Okay, but here, anyways, because we don't have portal yet, we can do it from the APG UI itself. Okay,
So now then it is asking me status active,
status
right?
active. I don't understand. Okay, so
I
you
mean,
click,
when I create and click on, when I gave these details and click
correct.
on create, I see details with the details that I provided along with the status
Exactly.
active.
Okay. I got it. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. So that it is fine. Then here, once you are added a developer, go to apps here. Now you have to register app for developer. Okay. So click on app on
The
the left.
developer should have to take another any other action or just create it.
Now just create it. That's it.
Create
And
it.
then
Okay.
click on apps here.
Okay.
So when you click on app, sometime it doesn't load. Okay. So just you have to refresh the page because sometimes APG doesn't load immediately. So you just refresh the page, it will load properly. Okay. So all the apps, because apps sometimes can be too many apps. Okay. So that's the reason. Okay.
It didn't load yet. Yeah, it loaded.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here then here click on plus app again on the right side, plus app. You are registering the app for. So in real life again, in real scenario, developer will go to portal, and from the portal itself they will register their app. But we can do it from the backend also here. So we are registering the app for a developer here. Okay. So the
I'll
same
just click
thing.
on
Sorry.
app plus app
Yes.
and name.
So name will be same, retail hyphen your training ID, whatever.
Okay.
Okay, and then click on developer here.
Okay.
Type the name. So for example, I will type my developer name. So yeah, it is coming. Okay, so I'm using my Gmail ID here. So select your developer here.
Yeah.
Okay, after that, on the right side, if you go down, you see there is at least one product is required, right? So when
So
you're
now, like, is it that we are giving access to the that person for that app? Is it?
correct, yes. So we are creating app for this developer. So this
Okay.
will be the owner of this app. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
because in real this person right now cannot access portal, right? So we are creating on his behalf and we'll share the credentials with them like this. Okay.
All right. Yeah.
So then on the right side there is a product thing. You see at least one product is required. There is a message here, correct? Red color.
Yeah.
So you have to click on add product
Mm-hmm.
and then select your product that was there. So select your
Create your.
product and
Okay.
click on add button. So at least one product has to be selected. You can add more than one product also, but minimum at least one product is required. Okay.
Okay.
And then click on this create button. Okay. On the top, there is a create button. Click on that. So then it will create an app for you. Correct. So you will get this page. So let me know when your app is created.
Yeah, it is created.
So then here there is a key. In the key, you can click on show. It will create a key and secret for you. APG will automatically create a key and secret. At
Yeah.
that you can see here. Now this you can copy. So this you can copy, put it in Notepad. It is very important in all the subsequent labs and all. We will need these keys and secrets and all sometime. Okay, so copy this, copy this key. Open a new tab here. Okay, and I'm just putting in some notes so that you know.
Okay. No.
And then put it this one as a key, and you can copy the secret also. Copy the small one as a secret. So bigger one is key, smaller one is secret. Just Put it in notepad. Later on you will need it, so just put it
Right.
there and save it. If you want to save, just save it in notepad or somewhere. Okay, some text pad or notepad. Let me know once you save it.
Yeah, done.
Done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now so that way we have created app. So just let me revise the steps. What we did, first thing, we added API key security using verify API key policy, so that only a valid app can test it, correct? Then after that, what we did, we created a product so that we can publish it, correct? So product is to make it to publish the API so that it is available for subscription, right?
Okay.
Then we registered a developer, and then on behalf of the developer, we also registered app, right? And at the time of app registration, you select your product, correct? So you have to subscribe to the product, correct? So the product
Right.
was subscribed, and for that APG created a key and secret. So API key, app key, consumer key, client ID, they have the same meaning. So this is the key, that is okay. And then secret is the secret or app password or app secret or something like this. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so we copied it. By default, you see APG, this you can even have an expiry time if you want. Right now here, this will never expire, correct? But if you want
Mm.
sometime, you can even have expiry time. Okay. So
Okay.
just yeah. So now this is done. So after yeah, so after saving this thing, so yeah, after saving the details and all, the way yeah. So what we have to do is now open your Postman.
Postman. Okay. Postman.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm in Postman.
And then click on this plus tab to add a new tab for a new
Okay.
request.
Okay.
Okay, and then copy that URL that we had for categories URL. Copy, go there,
Okay.
go to your browser, copy that,
Yeah.
it will be there in the browser, right? So copy this URL
Okay.
and paste it. Okay, paste the
Mm.
URL in the
Okay.
Postman in the URL
I did.
section.
I did.
Okay, then after that, so this is only you have given URL, but you have to add the API key, correct? So that value. So below this URL, you see header tab, correct? Header tab is there. Click on this headers. Okay.
Click on headers. Okay.
Now, so in the headers, so you have to add the header. So the name of the header was whatever value we had after request.header.header name. So header name was API key all small. Remember that, right? So all small API key all small. Correct. That was the header name we gave, right? In our code. Okay.
Uh, uh-huh.
So the value will be, you can copy the value of this API key here. Copy
Okay.
this. That will be the value of your API key. So this is the value. Okay, so this is the value. Okay,
Okay.
now let's go to the proxy. Go to Chrome.
Yes.
You have to go to the proxy. Go to develop proxies, develop and proxies, and then you click on this yeah, this proxy.
Which
Okay,
one?
click on your proxy,
My pro. Okay.
your proxy, your respective proxy, and then go to trace.
Trace. Okay.
Now in the trace, this automatically compare, uncheck this. Remember that it should be unchecked. If it is not unchecked, you have to manually uncheck it. For me, it is already unchecked, so I don't have to do. Okay.
All right. Okay.
And then,
What will happen if it is checked?
so the thing is that it creates a lot of confusion. It starts showing some other things, so it will be difficult to see the values in the trace. It might sometime it will start showing some comparison. I don't know from which place and all.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Got it.
That's why, so it is very confusing. So we always make sure it is answered. Now we start the trace session. Start the trace. Okay. When the trace is on, go to Postman and click on send button here. So go to Postman, click on send button.
And
And when you click on send button, now you should get the response 200 OK, and you should get the list of categories here. Okay. This
yeah, 200. Okay. Yeah. Color. Red.
and our ID and all those stuff, right? So that's what. So it is
Okay.
coming. So whatever was. So now we have got. We are start. I mean, we started to get the proper response. Correct.
Right. Right.
So now here now in the trace, if you see, so when the request come, you click on the first circle. This
Hmm.
circle is the request received from the client, right? You see this header is coming API key. It will have the value, the whatever value you gave, correct? API key in the
Okay.
header, and that is the header, correct? And then here you see the policy. You see this policy previously it was not there because we
Yeah.
had policy in the pre-flow. You see this policy here.
Hmm.
Click on this policy. Click on this red color policy. So
Yeah.
here you will see all these things. So if you here in the page detail, you scroll up, go to scroll. If you scroll up here, it will show you a lot of things. So here in the page details, you can see lot of all the variables. So you see because this API key validation is successful. Okay. Now because this API key validation is successful, all the details about API key. So this was the variable that we read, correct? Request.header.header name. So header name was API key, right? So it is able to it is showing the what value was there, then it will show a lot of information, API
Right.
name, then it is creating those variables in a specific format. You see verify API key dot policy name dot redirect URI dot product dot name, right? So all the information related to the developer app, related to the product, and related to the developer, all the information, okay, all the related information, it will populate in variables. So if in case you have to use any of these variables later on for any purpose, you can copy this variable name, okay, and you can use these variables later on in any other policy or condition and whatsoever, okay. So you can see a lot of variables are getting set here successfully on these. So these are all predefined variables that Apigee will set when a verify API key policy is successful. Okay. So all this information developer app and all this. Okay. So right now, anyways, we are not doing much. So once it is successfully verified, it is all success. Then you click on this second request. The same request is then forwarded. Correct. The request is forwarded to the backend. Backend will give response. Right now, nothing. So whatever response comes, we are sending it back. Okay. So
Okay.
right now we have added a API key security to our proxy. Okay.
Right.
So any questions so far? I hope this flow was clear to you and the
No,
lab
it
is
is clear. It is clear.
all right. So now we have one last part of this chapter. So let's cover this today also, so that at least we can be done with chapter number 4 today. Okay. So now this is about responses. So in the first part of REST APIs, we covered the we covered the what we I mean we had covered only the request part. Now we are going to cover the responses. Okay, in the REST API. So in every time when there is a response from a API, you will get a status code. Okay, so these status codes are the primary signal which indicate whether your API request was success or fail. Okay, and if it failed, then what could be the probable cause, why it could why they might have failed. Okay, so every response will have a status code. It is mandatory. So status code, every time there is HTTP response, there has to be status code. So every response contains the status code, which tells the status, basically the status, okay, that this is the response and all those stuff. So the status code will have the specific meaning, and in case of error status ones, so they will tell the probable cause. Okay, usually the idea is that the documentation and the API error response. So when we provide error response, we provide a like JSON payload or anything. So that error response that we are sending, that error response alongside the status code should indicate, okay, how to fix the problem. So consumer should get an idea what could be the wrong, and how, if they have to fix, then how to fix, okay, or where to fix. Okay, so then but thing is that there are a lot of status code. Okay, Apigee has like lots and lots of status code, not just Apigee, sorry, the HTTP protocol, the HTTP protocol itself has lots and lots of status code. Okay, and we cannot use all the status codes in the response because it will be impractical. So what we do is we choose a set of status codes. Okay, we define them properly, and then whatever status code that we have defined, okay, or we have selected, we are going to support these status codes, then we simply go ahead with that. Okay, so we just go ahead and we implement it. So this, but this decision about which status code to use, that is taken at a very very early stage. It is not that something after implementation you keep changing and all that. That is not a ideal scenario, and that is not good also. So I mean, just a quick quiz about so are you familiar with the status code? So for example, 200, are you familiar
Yeah,
with
yeah.
that?
Right, right.
200, what exactly it means? 200 is for,
Word is okay.
so means
Successful.
successful.
Okay.
400,
400 is like the input is wrong, kind of.
correct. So what do we call it? So that is one scenario that you specify. Input is wrong. So what it will come under? So 400 is for,
I don't know the exact
I
message
mean,
error.
bad request. 400
Bad
bad request
request.
because
Bad
so
request.
that is the default word. 401.
I'm not sure.
401 is unauthorized. So, for example,
Okay.
when your API key is not valid, for example, that your API key is not valid, or if you are sending a basic authentication or OAuth token, that token is not valid, whatever. So that in that case, 401. Okay.
Okay.
Then
No, not sure
404,
that one also.
403 is forbidden. Means your credentials are valid, okay, but you do not have access. So, for example, if we have another API key, or if I use my API key, correct? If I use my API key, which is a valid API key for your API, correct? Then it will not work because my API key does not have access to your proxy, correct? So that is the thing. So if it doesn't have access, so then you give 403 forbidden, okay? 404.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, 404 is not found, resource not found. So if resource doesn't exist, then use
What is
404.
not found? What is not found?
Resource not found. If the resource that
Resource
you
not.
are trying to access, that resource doesn't exist or something, so we provide
Okay.
404. This resource not found. 429 is for this thing, too many requests. So
Okay.
going to the next one. So 404 not found. So means the resource doesn't exist, as I told, or it is not accessible for the current user. For current user, if the resource doesn't exist, you simply said 404 not found. 429 is too many requests,
Mm.
means it is rejected because of, yeah, to I mean there is a quota failure, correct? Rate limiting failure, quota failure, that is the 429 scenario, too many requests. And then 500 is the internal server error, means it is something. So 500 is like a default, okay? If nothing, if you don't have anything defined and everything, okay, if you have not defined any error or anything, that all comes under 500. So 500 is like internal server error, so something is wrong on the server. So request is fine, there is nothing wrong with the request, but it can be either like your code is not correct internally. You might have written a JavaScript file which is having some logical error or any syntax error or whatever, right? Any kind of this thing, something, some exception came there, some exception came in your code, or sometime the backend is not, some problem with the backend, or the backend is not able to connect to database or whatever. I mean anything. So anything which is either on APG, and something wrong on APG, or something wrong with the sometime backend also. So anything wrong with the backend. So that's, so most of them is the 500 scenario. Okay, when we don't know
Okay.
what happened and everything, and yeah, so it is like unexpected error. Okay, there are some other status codes also, so which are not that popular, but they are still very much used. So for example, 201 created. So 201 is used as the response of the post, because post is the create operation, correct? So and the
Yeah.
response of post, many times when the post is successful or your create operation is successful, uh, we respond with 201. Okay, 204 no content, when the request was successful but there is nothing, no content, there is nothing to send in the response. So when, okay, then I mean we are not sending any payload, then 204 means whatever activity you wanted, that is done. So usually 204 we use as the response of sometime put call, because sometime the put call you just because whatever was sent it is updated. So like sometime you do in the put call, and also sometime in the delete call, means delete operation was successful and there is no content to return, like this. Okay, so 204 no content. Then 304 not modified. This is used when like some, it is like there is a caching involved. Okay, so what happens if client has asked for some response, that server has given a response, then after some time client will send another request, and it will have a header. header name is if modified since, if dash modified dash since, and it will give a timestamp. Okay, so time value. So if something is modified since, okay, and it will send that request. In that case, server can provide 304 not modified. So it is like server is saying that is not modified. You can use your own cache response like this. Okay, so it is used in case of cachings, Then 405 method not allowed. So if someone is trying to call a post method, but they are not having access to the post, and they only have access to get, then you give 405. Okay, method not allowed. And then 409 is conflict. So when there is a unique key violation. So for example, if you are creating a user, okay, you create a user, and email ID is the mandatory and it is unique. So you have the email ID as a unique field, and the same email ID comes again in the create call. Okay, so then you can see, okay, this email ID already exists. Okay, so it is a unique key constraint violation. So then you can provide the response saying 409 conflict. Okay, and 503 service unavailable means either server is down or that specific service is down. So one of them is down. So then 503. So yeah, as these status codes have this caveat. So 100 we don't use it, 1xx we don't use it. So let it go. So 1xx is like not really a final status code. Final status code is like a 2xx. So 200 range is a this thing, or 300, 400, and 500 range. So those ranges are there. So 2xx is like successful, 3xx in case of redirection and all, 4xx error from the client, 5xx is the server error. So it is very important to understand and remember the differences. So in case of 4xx, so client is doing something wrong, okay, and which they are not supposed to do. And 5xx is like request is valid, but on the server side something went wrong, which we don't know what went wrong and all those stuff. So that server is telling it is something you cannot do. So 5xx is not on client. We have to check and we have to fix. Okay. Now, in the responses, when we are defining responses, so there are some bad example, what we should not do. So here is one example of a bad response. Okay. Now the reason is here in the response, you see only you are giving a 400 bad request and error bad request. Now, if you are only writing this, how would a client know? How would a consumer know what is wrong in his request? Correct. If you are only sending bad request, now what is bad in the request? What he is supposed to send, what is not supposed to send. So that is why in case of 400, okay, bad request, you have to specify it is like missing the query parameter or missing the mandatory parameter like this. Okay, so that consumer can get an idea. And you can also give link to the portal. In the portal you can have the documentation, so user can verify from the documentation, okay, I am required to send this query parameter, or I'm required to send this kind of thing. So that is why. So when you are giving a 400 response, usually better you can give more information like which field is wrong. And then you can also, as an optional, you can also give a link to your portal. If you have a portal where all the documentation is there, you can give the link of that document. Okay. Now, second is the here is another example of bad response. Now, technically, this is not a wrong response. Okay. Now, let me explain. So, reason is that, so in case of first scenario, in case of first, so a client is making call users 123. Now, this 123 user doesn't exist. So, server is providing, okay, 404 not found. But now, in case of second call, if user is 456, this 456 user ID exists. Okay, but it is not available for the given client. So server is responding 403 forbidden. That is technically correct, because obviously um, the 456 is perhaps he might not the client application which is calling, they might not have access to this user ID. Now, but problem is that if a hacker is trying to try with the all the wrong all the wrong IDs one by one using some dictionary or whatever, they keep trying with one ID, another ID, another ID. So if for all of them 404 not found, then they will know, okay, this ID doesn't exist, I cannot do, so he will not do anything. But now if we see 403, so he will easily understand. So consume the client will know, okay, this 456 it is a valid user ID in the request, okay, on the system. So now they will try to find other ways to hack the data. So it is like by mistake you are inadvertently you are um, leaking the information. Okay, so technically this response code is correct, 403, as per the, if you follow the protocol it is correct, but because of the leakage of data, ideally what we should do is we should provide a 404 not found, means for client this doesn't exist. Okay, so we can provide a 404. So if a hacker is trying, if a hacker is a bad actor is trying, they will see okay it is 404, they will see okay this doesn't exist, so we will not. Okay, so as simple as that. Now another is like this example. See here it is like, remember, whenever you are giving any response, in any response you should not have any header, any field, anything which should contain any technology name. Okay, remember, you, any response that you are giving, it should be independent of the technology or platform. You should never provide any tech, any that platform or technology specific values in any header or in the payload field anywhere. So for example, you are giving the name of the technology like TIBCO, MySQL and all those stuff, right? Client, the consumer will know this is what they are using, and if there are any hacking thing, they will start hacking, trying to hack the database and all those stuff, right? So we should never give that. Okay, so in case of 500 scenario, if there is a 500 error, means something is wrong on the server, you provide a generic message, as simple as that. We provide a generic message, says okay this is not wrong and all, and you can provide a correlation ID or some error ID, some kind of unique ID. Okay, using that unique ID, client can reach out to your support team. Your support team can check the logs and they can see, and they can internally find out, internally they will get to know okay this policy failed, or this connection failed, or this something this failed. Internally they will see okay what was the problem, and they will reach out to their development team to fix it. As simple as that. Client should never know internally what we are using, what technology, what platform and all that we are using. Okay,
Okay.
so it is very important from security point of view. Just a minute, give me a minute.
Sure.
Now another thing here is the next is a pagination concept. So pagination is something that we use when we have a very large or unknown number of results. So when we are doing making a getting a response, and that response is very large, when lot of uh, records are there in the response, there are a lot of records, and when, or either it is I mean it is finite but a lot of values, or we don't even know, sometimes it is like very large, we don't even know how many will be there, like this. Also the all the results, all the records that are coming, all the records belong to same entity. Like for example, it should be all of them, all the records should belong to user, or all the records should belong to customer or orders. Okay, same entity type. So it is not that you are combining orders and users and providing, in that case you cannot do that. Okay, so either you are going a single entity, records belonging to single entity. Okay, in that case, and response is the result of a query, means this response is written only when you are doing a query. So that will basically get call. So this is like a response of the get call. So when you have made a get call, doing some search or filtering or something, and there are a lot of records, basically array of JSON objects, correct? Array of the JSON objects. In that case we use pagination. Okay, now in pagination we use two parameters. Most of the time we use two parameter. One is called offset and second is called limit. So offset basically is the starting index. Starting index. So for example, if you are getting record number 21 to 30, so offset is the 20 value of 21. So offset will be 21, and limit will be the number of records. So for example, if we are having 21 to 30, so offset will be 21 and limit will be 10. Means 10 records starting from 21. So like this, so 21 to 30. Okay, so limit is the number of records that are coming, and offset is the starting index of the record. So most of the time we these two parameters are good enough. But sometime when you are doing a query, let's say when you are doing a query, at the same time some other API call from some other client, some client app is, another client app is making call to either do an addition or doing update, doing deletion, okay, in parallel. So when you are getting the record, that record that you have got might not be latest, correct? There could be a consistency problem. It might not be consistent in the actual database. So to avoid those kind of consistency problems, okay, what we do is we use value based paging. Now what exactly we mean by value based? So basically, in the apart from offset and limit, in the server, in the response, in the response, server will provide a parameter called last. So last will either contain a unique id, which is like the id of the last resource. So whatever was the last resource id, uh, last record unique id of the last resource, okay. Or it will have the timestamp when the query was made. So either you provide the record id of the last record, or you provide the timestamp when the query was made to like database or anything. So that way we will know this, uh, when this response came, either this was the last id in your database, or the response was received, or response is consistent for this timestamp, okay. For this time the response is consistent. So after that time there could be more updates which we are not uh, bothered about, like this, okay. So that way, so value based paging is going to tell you till what time or what thing the record was consistent, okay. Another very important part is when you are getting the paging, so because you are getting array of objects, correct, you are getting array of object. So each object can have 10, 20, 30 elements, right? There can be 10, 20, 30 fields within an object, but we should not return all of those. Only two or three important ones, we should return. And we should give a link. Each response would have a link to get the full record. So if you want to get the full record, you simply parse the link and you hit that link, and that will give you the full record separately. But in the pagination response, when you're giving the array, in the array you should not provide all the 10, 20, because it will be too big, right? It can be too big and it will be problematic. So that is the reason, okay. So here is one example of pagination response. So where you have user, where you have offset and limit. So like, as I was saying, offset 21 means starting index is 21, limit 10 means 21 to 30, because 10 records starting from 21, okay. Now here in the entities, you see in the entities array, you see id, first name, last name. So only two three fields, and then you give a href will be the link to the full, to get the full record of the user for that specific user, to full entity you give the link. So that is how you do, and the follow the same pattern. And at the end, after this entity array is done, sometime people provide some information like first, last, previous record, what was the previous link, next link, those kind of record also, those kind of link also they provide. Or they can provide information like the offset here, limit here, total number of items. So that those kind of things they people, you can provide in the response as well, okay. So in the pagination, so yeah, you can ignore this one for one thing. Now this is important one. So when we are defining the good error responses, so when you are defining, now remember one more thing, that our direct client, okay, our direct client is a technical person, correct, because we are building apis. Our direct consumer is a, yeah, front end developer, correct. Now front end developer will understand the technology, remember that. His client might not, but our direct client is the person who understands technology, correct. He also understands the whole http protocol, he understand the database, he might understand all this thing, right. So when we are giving response, we should give enough information so that the consumer can fix in case of like 400 or whatever. If they are doing something wrong, we should tell them, okay, this is what you have to do. But we should never give more than enough information. So we should give enough information so that they can fix, but we should not give more than enough, because if by mistake you are leaking something, then who knows, that can be a like a hacker, right, and they can try to hack the information.
Right.
Okay, so we should give information for the developer that will allow the correction of error. But we should use, like sometime, as I mentioned, we should provide a message that will help to understand why this request did not work. And also sometimes, not sometimes, but mostly whenever you are giving error response, you provide some kind of tracking ID. It can be a correlation ID or some transaction ID, whatever, some unique identifier. That ID should also be in our logs. Okay, so that person, the developer, will come to our operations team with that ID, and our operations team, the people who are checking the production logs and all, they can search for, based on this ID, they can search for the log and they can find out, okay, what was wrong here, like this. Okay, and then and we should assume that bad actor will try to call, so we will know that, okay, these bad actors, there are, like, as I know, because our consumer is always, and people, we don't know if the consumer who is consuming, is he having a proper intention, is he really something that he needs this information. Sometimes people try to hack it, so they can be a hacker, right? They can come, we don't know. But once we define error payload structure, error structure of the error payload and everything, and status codes and all. Once we define all this, we need to be consistent, because if we are consistent, then consumer can also programmatically, they can read it, correct? They can programmatically read, okay, this is the field, they have the parsing logic, they can create their parsing logic based on our consistent response format of structure of the payload or template, and then they can do the parsing, and they can parse the error message, and they can showcase to their end users accordingly.